Yes guys, GBFC Chelsea pre-season tour. In today's episode it is your Chelsea Man City preview on a very rainy road trip to Columbus, Ohio, where Chelsea take on City. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the Ohio River.
Damn.
In the state of Kentucky.
I reckon I should do the intro here.
I reckon.
Shall we go? Should we
Let's
rock and
go.
roll?
Let's
Oh, look at
rock and
these.
roll.
Look at that eagle.
Oh, yes. Hello,
Oh, yo. Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel this morning. It's a little bit overcast. We had a bit of rain last night. We stayed just outside of Louisville. And right now, we're in the middle of absolute nowhere. A little bit like what's going to happen to Conor Gallagher when the Chelsea team get back from the USA tour. The news has broken this morning, and I'm not happy to hear this because I feel as though this is a bit unfair. Gallagher is being banished from first team training. He's going to be training with the reserves if he doesn't want to sign for another club and Chelsea sell him this summer. I think it's absolutely crazy. Chelsea have offered him a 2+1 year deal. Conor Gallagher's rejected it. Fair enough. At the same time, he wants to be a regular starter, which might not happen with the way that Maresca wants to play, and he wants a longer deal. We're in the middle of nowhere also, and we are next to the Ohio River in some random little town called Carrollton in Kentucky, on our way to Columbus to do the match preview for Chelsea versus Manchester City. We've got eagles, we've got herons, we've got an abundance of water. What more could you want? Celery, celery. So this Carrollton area that we're in right now is very industrial. We're also risking the roof down because it looks to me as though it could rain any second from now. But we got these giant cigarette-like creatures to my left here as we're driving. Oh no, there's an ambulance coming. Kentucky is very wild in the sense of there's not really much around. We've literally had nothing but yard sales and garage sales for the last hour's worth of driving here. We're on the outskirts of Cincinnati, which we're not going to spend much time there because we have to get to Columbus today in Ohio. But before we leave Kentucky, we wanted to go and see some bison. But yeah, I don't want to focus any more on the negativity. At the end of the day, you can have your opinion on what the club are doing with Conor Gallagher right now, whether you want him to stay or not. I think banishing him from the first team when he is still contracted at Chelsea and is one of the only players that can actually stay fit and captained us last season. My thoughts on the matter, to wrap that up, is that they should be dealing with this a lot better than they are. Simple as that. Thoughts from you lot in the comments down below. Let's go and see some bison. I'm going to start thinking about what I want to see from my Chelsea 11 today. My ears have just popped. Did yours just pop?
No.
Here we are.
Big Bone Lake State Historic Site.
He's just washing his balls, I think. Hello, mate. Look at the size of that big boy. So we've got some updates from the club. It looks as though the players are on a flight now from Atlanta, either to Cincinnati or to Columbus directly. We are currently on the outskirts of Cincinnati. There's been a lot of driving. I think I kind of underestimated just how much driving was going to be done. And I don't think we're going to make it in time to get to the stadium today. I've also not got a reply, having tried to get in the stadium to do the previews the way that we've been doing it. So if there's anybody from Charlotte Soccer Club, or football club as I call it, who wants to get me into the stadium for the last game, that would be great because we've got no access today in Ohio. But we're going to build the Chelsea 11 soon. Just been looking at the fallout, I'm going to say, from this Gallagher story. I spoke about it earlier in the video, but I think I agree with a lot of people on social media. The way that this has been put out as a bulletin to certain journalists to basically air the news is kind of frustrating in a way that this could have just been dealt with behind closed doors, and it didn't need to be made into this thing where it's like Gallagher gets banished. It could have just been the case of Atletico Madrid have given a deadline until the end of this weekend. If he joins Atletico Madrid, this kind of negative energy around the story and Chalobah and all that stuff, it may have never even had to come out. It just doesn't look good that all of this is out in the public. In other news, I'm pretty sure it's about to get very stormy again around here. Some dark clouds are looming. Does not look good at all. I think there's going to be a lightning strike in the next like 6 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go on. Go on.
Give us a bang.
Go on. Come on, England. Oh! Think we caught it over there. What an effort that was. Don't know if you guys can hear that, but there is like some deep growling going on out there. Rah! Instead of driving where you can't really see and making this video go out late for you lot, I've thought, you know what, today can be less about going out and doing epic cool travel stuff, and we can just get to the meat and potatoes, or as Eunice would say, the nitty gritty. We're going to do my Chelsea versus Manchester City team now. I'm really excited for this game. We're going to be playing in a massive stadium. I think is it on a university campus, G? Yeah. It's on a university campus. So this is a huge stadium. And all of the grounds that we've been in so far, they've all been epic football stadiums in their own right, but there's been very low numbers, which I'm not sure if Chelsea will be worried about this for the tour. But I think when you're playing in cities where you're there quite often in midweek, people either can't get the time off work or it's very expensive. And because the fixtures aren't competitive fixtures, I feel as though it's maybe put a lot of people off coming. So maybe that's something to look into for next year. I know it costs a lot to go and watch sports here in the US, but there's been a lot of empty seats inside of these massive stadiums that Chelsea have been playing in. Manchester City, now, they've been struggling during this pre-season. Pep Guardiola, he loves to have an excuse up his sleeve whenever he can, because obviously he's so used to winning, but when things aren't going his way, he's always got an excuse. And at the moment, Man City do have a lot of injuries. They've been struggling. They also lost to Celtic about 10 days ago, 4-3, when we got beat by Celtic 4-1. So it kind of makes that Celtic result okay. No, it doesn't. Nothing makes that Celtic result okay. But we're past that now. And after watching Chelsea against Club America, we've learnt that Enzo Maresca is, from match day number 2, he is starting to look at this pre-season as this is the starting 11, and we're going to adapt things as we go. We're going to use that 11, take players out as the game goes on, make substitutions to change the shape or just simply change the personnel. So we're not going to see a classic pre-season first half 11. Second half 11, the Thunderbot is getting mad out there, guys. It's getting mental. So what I've done again, and a lot of you in the last video were like, well, the second team is much better than the first one. The second team that I went for in the last preview was what I wanted to see, and the first one was what I thought Maresca was going to do. Now, luckily, after the Club America match, what I think Maresca's going to do is also in alignment with what I want to see. So I've got a 3-2-4-1 formation here on my phone. We're then going to move into a 4-3-3. In terms of injury updates, there were quite a few players that had little knocks at the end of the game against Club America. I think Gusto and Kunku, but then it was proven that it was all just cramps. There weren't any serious injuries. So I think we should be okay. Nicholas Jackson, he's been in training. It looks as though he's been with Maresca a lot, 1-to-1. So I think there could be a chance that Jackson is back for this game. But I also don't think Enzo Maresca will risk him. So we begin with Philip Jorgensen in goal. Clean sheet in the first time he played for Chelsea. Overall, after conceding 4 goals against Celtic, whether it was Sanchez and Jorgensen or just Sanchez in the last game, a clean sheet was going to almost be just as valuable, or a clean duvet as the series coined earlier on. It was going to be just as valuable as how good Chelsea were going forward. And we've got to remember, we could have scored a lot more goals. We missed some big chances, but we do start with Jorgensen in goal. I want to see what this man can do. Moving into a centre-back 3. And based on what we saw the other day, I think because it works so well, and I think Maresca's going to want to see a bit more of Badiashile, so I'm going with Reece James as the right centre-back with Tosin central, who's been very good, by the way, quietly going under my radar. And then Benoit Badiashile in the left centre-back position. Not to say that I think these are the best centre-back options that we have, but I want to see Malo Gusto with Romeo Lavia again. I thought Gusto looked so good the other day, kind of lining up on that left-back position, which I think right now, having Reece James as a right-back when he's got to defend and Gusto as a left-back works. And if Chelsea can control the possession, which might be very difficult against Man City, I think it makes sense to experiment, even against a good team, with instead of Chelsea being slow and passive and kind of responsive to when we get given the ball or when we're lucky enough to have the ball, I think we should be going out there in these pre-season friendlies against brilliant sides who like to keep the ball, like your Man Cities and your Real Madrids. And we should try and beat them at that game. If you can't do it in pre-season, then there's no point doing it at all. And the way that we saw Chelsea control the tempo, control the shape, control the flow of the match against Club America, I absolutely think we can do it. And Gusto and Lavia were arguably the two best players on the pitch alongside Christopher Nkunku in that last game. So we then move into the 5 attackers. And I've gone with Enzo and Dewsbury Hall in the 8s. I think Kiernan Dewsbury Hall is going to be a very important player for us this season, particularly in these early phases of Maresca ball. I said I wasn't going to say it, but it's the easiest thing to do while we're rolling and we're flowing in this match preview. We need to see more of Enzo Fernandez. And I think the way that Kiernan Dewsbury Hall makes these runs in behind, he also makes these inside runs to allow a bit more natural width. I think Mudryk has been poor. I think Christopher Nkunku will kind of line up on that left-hand side, but I think he'll rotate and alternate with Dewsbury Hall, who doesn't mind going out on that left flank, getting the crosses in, as we saw for the striker. Mark Yu is the striker again. He's been absolutely fantastic for us so far. There's a lot of balance here. I like the way that you can get those rotations. Madueke can kind of be that winger that stays out on the right touchline. Then you got Gusto overlapping. We had Lavia overlapping and being on that right side to win the penalty. And I think with that left side as well, when you've got a player like Dewsbury Hall who's left-footed and Nkunku who likes to drift inside, it doesn't make it so predictable. And I think when you're playing against the best teams, you need to stop being so predictable, which is what we have seen Chelsea be for so long. So let's move now into another option that we've got here that lines up as a 4-3-3. I've got Jorgensen, James, Fofana, Colwill and Gusto. Lavia is a DM. Enzo on the right-hand side on the 8. Dewsbury Hall as another 8 with Christopher Nkunku left wing. Mark Yu as a striker. Noni Madueke as a right winger. I think at the minute, as much as we were talking about, we've signed so many right wingers. We've got Esteval coming. We've got Angelo Gabriel as well, who looks good in pre-season. But I just think it's like, it's the Ross Barkley situation. He's going to look good in pre-season, but then he's going to go on loan to Strasbourg as soon as we get back. So I'd like to see Enzo playing as an 8, Enzo Fernandez. I think this is important in a game like this against Man City. And like I've said already, the way that I want us to approach this game is use the fact that it's a friendly and it doesn't mean so much. So let's not sit back and let Man City to have the ball. Let's go at them. Let's play them at their own game. That is literally what Enzo Maresca has done. He's learnt from Pep Guardiola. He knows the system as good as anybody else that isn't Pep Guardiola in football, because he's literally been his understudy. So let me know what you think of these Chelsea lineups going into this friendly against Manchester City. It's not going to feel like a friendly because those games against City last season were so entertaining. And Chelsea were really good. We didn't get beat by City in the league last season. So fingers crossed we turn up and get ourselves another victory tomorrow. This rain isn't letting up and I need to stick the aircon back on in this car because it is absolutely toasty in here. But I'm going to wrap up this vlog now. You got anything to say, G? Oh! Yo! Did you guys see that? That was the megalodon shark of lightning that we just had there. We're going to see you guys tomorrow. Yo! Mega out here.
It's getting
Ladies
meaty.
and gentlemen, it's getting meaty and potatoes.
Meat and potatoes.
Meaty and potatoes.
No, I'm excited to get to Columbus, Ohio, and see what that's like. And I'm excited for the game tomorrow.
I am very excited for the game tomorrow. Score predictions will come tomorrow.
Yeah.
Match day vlog out tomorrow. 6 things we learnt as well. So make sure you are subscribed to the George Benson football channel and we'll see you all there. Come on, you Blues.